when did you change in a bad way?
I started in AA a year later. That July was when that incident.
So you were a nasty.
And I was able to binge away from her because I traveled a lot. So I'd go out on the road and binge for 4 or 5 days, come home and dry out. So what my wife got as a husband was a dry drunk, basically. And then when we moved to Boston, I was able to stay in town and work. And that's when I couldn't hide it much anymore. I'll never forget the first night I stayed out all night. It's funny now. You can laugh about this stuff now. Woody Allen said comedy was tragedy plus time. I mean, you got time to heal from the wounds, you should find humor in them. So anyway, I come home after being out all night, 11 o'clock in the morning, and my young wife, pregnant, is on the phone crying with a club owner. He didn't come home all night. I hear that as I'm coming through the door. He didn't come home all night. And I'm, hey, baby. She throws the phone at me. You're fine. And that was our marriage. And then when I got sober, the cap came off of the rage. Whatever I was holding down with alcohol and drugs came out full force. And they say who you are at home is who you are. And I treated my wife with eye rolls and smirks. And she used to say to me, every time you roll your eyes, I feel like the stupidest person on the planet. And then I'd roll my eyes and make her feel stupid.
I wish she was here. I want to meet her.
And she
shake her and say, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
I know. What did you put up with it for?
Yeah.
And I wasn't around much. I think that was, I was gone. Yeah. I think the last time, it's funny, God uses, Romans 8:28. Anyway, God uses stuff. And it was the IRS. I was on my third audit when the guy says, how many days are you on the road? I said, it says right there, 228 days. That was how long I was gone 1 year, 228 days. And they were going to take my home deduction away because I'm on the road. Listen to this. This is great. There's a law in the books apparently called the Transit Employee Law that if you're on the road so many days, the government figures that your home is the road, so you have no home. And I go, what are my wife and kids living in? And this is when I lost it. I mean, I really did. I said, what pinhead came up with that law? They said they wrote it for circus employees. Well, at that time, it was like the 90s. What are we, $6 trillion in the hole, and you're going after circus geeks? No wonder we can't pay this debt off. What is biting the head off a chicken raking in these days? And I got my accountant going, calm down. I go, shut up. I've had it with these people. I threw my keys across the desk. I said, take it all. Take it all, everything. Load it up on a Ryder rental and drive it to the White House and drop it on Clinton's front lawn. I've had it. Hounding me for circus money? Are you kidding me? And anyway, the guy goes, you can calm down. I go, no, I'm done. I'm leaving. I got up. I walked out. I said, you can take it, all of it. I'm going home, and I'm trying to put my marriage back together. I realized at that point, the only thing they can take from me is my stuff. All the metal, the wood, the styrofoam, the plastic, all of that stuff that I was trying to cling to for all those years, that's what they can take. They can't take the stuff, my self-respect, my dignity, my peace of mind, unless I let them have it. And I'm telling you, my family would run when a letter came from the IRS because I used it to get self-righteous and pious, the anger that I had inside me. And when you finally get broken, and you realize that what your priorities are, and you've been inverted, and I think nationwide we've realized this. I really do. I think the nation is getting there.
I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
I think I keep praying that, the one thing, and I've said this so many times, don't ever pray for humility because, like, the bells go off in heaven. And God's like, hang on, I know I was doing something important. Somebody wants to be humbled. He dishes that one out immediately.
Right. Do you ever read Screw Tape letters?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love the line when the guy calls Screw Tape and he says he's getting true humility. He goes, well, make him proud of his humility.
Yes. That's right. That's right. And I don't know if we have been. I think a lot of people have. But we haven't paid for what we've done.
No, and it's funny. God would not let me off the hook. I watched your tax resolution thing.
Yeah.
And I went to 3 or 4 different places like that to get mine resolved. And I owed him $50,000. And I told you that we qualified for poverty when we got to Nashville, my wife and I. When God finally, we were 10 minutes from filing those divorce papers, and Tammy had a change of heart. And years later, somebody said, "What do you love most about your wife?" And it was that moment, that grace. So when I heard about a God of grace, I had an earthly reference point to connect it to. I know what grace looks like. I know what it feels like. And we went home, you know, and to share even farther, she shared this on a tape. There was a point where she got involved with another man in the middle of all of this. And when I found out about it, I remember that part of me that wanted to get self-righteous. You know, finally I got her, finally her. And that night, I didn't sleep well. And every time I tried to get puffed up about being right, God would go, "Remember the time? Do you remember the time? You remember the time?" So by the time I picked her up at the airport the next day, I put my arms around her, put a kiss on her cheek, and said, "We can get through this." And she says, "That's it?" And I go, "We're a mess. We had 2 kids at home. Look at us. They look to us. How did we get here? I mean, really, how do 2 people who walk down an aisle, profess their love for one another, wind up 8 or 9 years later, just this?" And I said, I'm not going to get involved in this. At this point, I'm getting pulled towards, you know, I got a man in my life who's, it was interesting.
Wait, you're getting pulled by a man in your life? Because this is getting into, we should.
But God put a man in my path that was wealthy, so that's what I thought I wanted. There came a point where I realized, okay, if it's about the material, so I'm reading Atlas Shrugged, and I'm figuring, okay, well, if it's about the material, then I'm going to try to accumulate my wealth, and I can buy my wife the nice things and get all these people off our back. You know, the thing about debt, and you know this, is that you invite total strangers into your life the minute you take on debt. They have the permission to call you at home. I came home on more than one occasion. My wife was sobbing on the phone, only to find out it was a bill collector. And my reaction to that one day was to drive down to his office and want to beat him up in the parking lot. Never occurred to me to pay him, you know. How dare you call my house? So and this guy, I didn't know. He was doing comedy on the road for $100 a week. He was between businesses, had a lot of money. He lived down here in Texas, actually. And went to Denton Bible, Tommy Nelson's church. So we're talking one day on the golf course. And what I love about him was, see, if you read, Jesus always got people to open up with questions, to open up under their own assumption. What are your assumptions, you know? Whose face is on the coin? Well, Caesar's. Well, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and give to God what is God's. So we're out there talking one day, and I'm asking him, how do you accumulate wealth? And he tells me, well, in order to enjoy the creation, you have to have a relationship with the one who created it. And I'm thinking, wow, that sounded new agey, you know. And I was, you know, I said, boy, where'd you read that at? He goes, it's in the Bible. And I go, all right. A couple holes go by. And he said something else. I go, that is great. Where'd you read that? He goes, it's in the Bible. I go, stop it with the Bible. He goes, what's your problem? I go, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. All right, God's word, a little archaic, you know. He says, well, what's in the Bible you don't think is true? I go, I never read the Bible. He goes, then you're not an atheist, you're a moron. You know, I mean, you kidding me? And any man who has an anger problem, you know, like I had, the hair on your neck stands up and your stomach tightens up, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I should hit him. I was in an ethical quandary, if it's possible for an atheist to have an ethical quandary. I was in one, you know. So I said, how so? And he said, I'll give you the short answer. To discount an infinite God in an infinite universe, you yourself have to have infinite knowledge of the entire universe. So what you're denying exists as an omniscient being. In order to truly deny that, you yourself have to be omniscient. It's a self-defeating argument. You cannot defend an absolute negative. And I looked at that man and said, what? He said, I say this out of love, Jeff. You are not smart enough to be an atheist. Honestly, I wasn't smart enough to figure out if he was insulting me or not. So but that started our friendship.
Back in a minute.